Hello everyone, welcome to my channel English Achievers. Today we are going to continue with Figures of Speech Part 2 of important figures of speech for SSC and HSC exam. For Part 1, you can click on the above link. As I have covered 12 figures of speech in Part 1, today we will learn 8 more figures of speech. So let's begin. Figures of speech are words or phrases that depart from straightforward literal language. Figures of speech are often used and crafted for emphasis, freshness, expression, or clarity. So the next figures of speech that we are going to learn today are metonymy, synecdoche, tautology, paradox, transferred epithet inversion, interrogation, and irony. So what's metonymy and synecdoche? They both are figures of speech that involve the use of one word or phrase to represent another. However, there are some differences between the two. Let's see the definition for metonymy. It is a figure of speech in which a word or phrase is substituted for another word or phrase that is closely associated with it. Synecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part of something is used to represent the whole or vice versa. So guys, in metonymy, we focus on the relationship between two concepts or ideas where one is used to represent the other. In the sense, in metonymy, we use a substitute or a word that is closely associated with one word, whereas synecdoche focuses on the relationship between a whole and its part. Here, we refer to a part that represents the whole. Let's see the example. The pen is mightier than the sword. The pen is used to represent writing or communication, while the sword represents warfare or violence. This phrase suggests that words and ideas have more power and influence than physical force. Let's see the example for synecdoche. All hands on deck. Here, hands is used to represent the entire crew or team. So that's a part used for the whole. Let's move on to the next figure of speech. Tautology. Tautology is a use of different words to say the same thing twice, just in a different way in the same statement. So saying the same thing twice over in different words, we often use tautologies without even thinking. Hence, it's unintentional. Let's see the examples. The money should be adequate enough. John's first priority is to get a good job. They are giving free gifts. The first example here, adequate enough, is a tautology because of the repetition of adequate and the word enough, which conveys a similar meaning. Hence, we say that the use of tautology can sometimes be intentional to emphasize a point, but it can also be seen as a stylistic flaw. In the second example, first priority means one and the same thing, whereas in the third example, free gifts. Free and gifts represent the same thing. Therefore, it's tautology. Next, we are going to learn paradox. Paradox is a statement or situation that appears to be contradictory or absurd, but may actually be true or have a logical explanation. So paradox basically challenges our understanding of logic and often leads to deeper insights or philosophical questions. Here, a statement may sound ridiculous, but somewhere it's true or maybe logical. For example, to save money, you have to spend. In this example, because it appears to contradict the conventional understanding of saving money. Typically, saving money is associated with not spending it, but rather reducing expense or to save it. The second example, this is the beginning of the end. It combines two contradictory ideas. Beginning implies the start of something, while end suggests the conclusion of that thing. Therefore, the phrase contradicts itself by suggesting that the beginning is also the end, which is logically impossible. Thus, that sounds absurd. Let's move on to the next figure of speech. Transferred epithet. It is a figure of speech that is formed by the transfer of an epithet from the noun, that is most probably the subject. It is actually meant to describe to another noun, that is most probably the noun that takes the place of the object in the sentence. So transferred epithet, here epithet means an adjective or a phrase that describes a noun to modify another noun in the sentence. Let's see the example for better understanding. We had such a wonderful time at the movies yesterday. Now here, the transferred epithet, that is wonderful time, the phrase wonderful time is a transferred epithet because the adjective wonderful is used to describe the noun time. The adjective is transferred from the noun it logically belongs to, that is experience, to another noun, that is time, for emphasis or poetic effect. Similarly, in the next example, that is, they seem to have an unhappy marriage. Here, the epithet unhappy is grammatically applied to the noun marriage, but it actually describes the emotional state of individuals within the marriage. Hence, it suggests that the individual within the marriage are unhappy because the marriage can't be unhappy. I hope that was clear. Let's move on to the next figure of speech, that is inversion. It is a figure of speech where the order of the words in the sentence is jumbled for poetic effect. Here in inversion, the prose order, which we usually use, that is subject, verb, and object, is jumbled up. In inversion, one might put the adjective after the noun, or the verb before the subject, or the noun before the preposition. An author may occasionally use inversion to make a line rhyme with the previous one. For example, rarely have I eaten better food. Now, here in this example, the statement isn't in the usual word order, that is subject, verb, and object. Rather, the adverb rarely is placed at the beginning of the sentence, followed by the auxiliary verb have, and then the subject I. Therefore, we say that the word order is interchanged. Let's see the second example. Hardly ever does she come to class on time. Here, she comes after the auxiliary verb does. And the correct prose order would be, she hardly ever comes to class on time. Next figure of speech is interrogation. When a question is asked in order to create a dramatic effect and not to get an answer in a line of the poem, the figure of speech is called interrogation. So we ask a question not for the sake of getting an answer, but to make a point more effective. All right, so let's see the example. Which do you prefer, white or red? Next example is, whom did you call to the party tomorrow? I hope that's easy to understand. Let's move on to the next figure of speech, that is irony. Irony is a figure of speech that involves expressing something different from or opposite to the literal meaning. It often conveys a sarcastic or humorous tone. So, irony is used to express a strong emotion or raise a point. So, we use words that mean the opposite of what we really think, especially in order to be funny or sarcastic. Let's see the example. We have two types of examples here. One is verbal irony, and next is a situational irony. Verbal irony occurs when someone says something but means the opposite. For example, what a beautiful day. Now, this is said during a heavy rainstorm, whereas situational irony, the example is a fire station burns down. This is because a fire station is typically a place where firefighters respond to fires and emergencies, so it is unexpected and ironic for a fire station itself to catch fire. So here we come to an end of this topic, figures of speech. It's time to test your knowledge. I'm going to read out the question and you have 5 seconds to guess the answer. I hope you get it right. Let's begin. I had a terrible evening yesterday. And the options are metonymy, transferred epithet, and paradox. The correct answer is transferred epithet. Here, the phrase terrible evening is a transferred epithet because the evening can't be terrible. Something terrible happened with the pronoun I. Let's see the next question. I can't wait to get back out on the waves. The options are synecdoche, metonymy, and irony. The correct answer is synecdoche. As synecdoche is a specific part of a larger whole, therefore, waves over here represent an ocean, therefore it is synecdoche. Third question is, the dinner you served was as hot as ice, and the options are irony, tautology, and metonymy. The right answer is irony because the person's intention is to say that the dinner was cold. Rather, the person said that the dinner was hot but as ice. Therefore, the example is verbal irony. Let's see the next question. She was so excited she could hardly contain her enthusiasm. The options are paradox, metonymy, and tautology. Here we go. The correct answer is tautology, as excited and enthusiasm has same meaning. Let's see the next question. If I know one thing, it's that I know nothing. The options are tautology, inversion, and paradox. The correct answer is paradox because it's a contradictory statement. I know one thing implies that the person has knowledge, but then it immediately contradicts itself by saying, I know nothing. This creates a paradox because it presents a self-defeating statement that cannot logically be true. Let's see the last question. An excellent decision she made there. The options are synecdoche, inversion, and metonymy. The correct answer is inversion. As the prose order is jumbled up, the correct prose order should be, she made an excellent decision there. So that's it for today's video. We have completed part 1 and part 2 figures of speech. If you want any other grammar topic, please suggest in the comment below. Please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.